What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having an amazing week. I know this week is probably a little bit different than how it normally is, especially with everything in the world going on. And I just pray that you guys are still staying encouraged. You're not letting what the media say, dictate your whole life, or you're not running around in fear. I don't know what's up with the toilet paper thing, though. Like, everywhere you go, there's no toilet paper. From my understanding with what the CDC is saying, that it doesn't have anything to do with that particular area, but there's no toilet paper. I don't really understand it. But anyhow, this week, because of everything that's going on, it really made me want to be transparent about some of the things that I've been going through, letting people know specifically how it helped me. I wanted to really shed light on a lot of things that people struggle with, and that's just not being connected with who you love. And now, more than any, while we're stuck in the house, I think it's time that we really focus on spending that time with God. Any other time you're like, oh, I'm too tired, or I got this going on, and everything that you've been wishing for at those jobs that you hate, or just needing a break from your life or current situations. Now is the time to do that. But more specifically, taking time to spend with God. There was a point in my life where I actually had to refocus and get things back in order, and I feel like that's a lot of what's going on right now. I feel like this is a time where people can really put back together some things that were broken and other things, because they have the time, they have the space. The government's already telling us to be secluded and be alone, so why not spend that time reconnecting with who you love? And I wanted to be open and transparent about me and how I overcame those things. When you first start a relationship with somebody, it's all fun and games, and you're trying different things, and now that you're in that relationship, sometimes it can go stale. You can be complacent in life, but you can also be complacent in your relationships. And I wanted to make it a point to show that even though you can be complacent in your relationships, it's never too late to get yourself back in order and reconnect. Some of the areas that I felt like I was struggling with were, intimacy, love, communication, trust, all those areas. And I found out that I was actually putting, my job, I was putting money, all these other things ahead rather than making him a priority. And because of it, it did a lot of things to me, and I can finally say now that I'm reconnected and it's going better. But I had to actually put in the work, and I had to actually put in the time to make sure I rekindled and appreciated the vow that I made in the beginning. And before I go on any further, I'm not talking about Terrence. I'm actually talking about my relationship with God. But there was a point where I had to really reevaluate my relationship with God. And all of this solitude that the government is making us do and putting us in a position where we actually have to be alone, it brought that up for me, because I talk about it in my book in chapter 5, where I talk about software updates. It made me go back to that point where I actually had to make myself be alone and recalibrate my thoughts and my relationship, and reevaluate, how I was treating people in my relationships in life, how I was treating, my spouse, how was I doing as far as my purpose. But I realized it didn't really matter if my one relationship with God wasn't going in the right direction. In that chapter, I talk about me taking a break and putting aside different things and different distractions that I felt that were hindering my relationship with God. And I really wanted to focus on making sure that I rekindled the vow that I made to him, and making sure that it's a relationship built on the ways of which he would want me to love him. Not the way that I give love, because let's just be honest. How many of us, raise your hand, have actually put God first all the time? If you do, you're a liar, because nobody does that. It's usually not our first mind to think about God first. And so for me, especially what I talk about in the book, God the Graphic Designer, if you haven't read the book, that's okay. You can go and get it. But if you have, you will relate and you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say, that I really needed to take a break from the things that I was replacing God with. Part of that, I actually learned a really valid lesson of changing the way that I loved God. I was loving him the way that I thought he should receive love, which was completely wrong. I learned that I needed to love him the way that he wants to be loved. It made me think of the 5 love languages. You can't just pick one. He's all 5. And it made me have a fire to want to make sure that I'm loving him in all the areas that he's asked for. So you've got 1, words of affirmation. 2, acts of service. 3, receiving gifts. 4, quality time. And 5, physical touch. For words of affirmation, it made me think of the vow and the promise that we have with God. And when you think of a vow, for those who are married, you already know it because you've said them. But for those of you who are striving to become a spouse, there's some things that you have to say. It's a vow that you have to promise to do with this person, no matter what. And I think of that same vow as when I spoke the vows to my husband, for rich or for poor, in sickness and health. But tying those vows to God, are you going to love him while you're rich? While everything's going well, are you still going to love him? When you're poor, when you have nothing left, you have nothing to give. And this isn't just about money, but physically and spiritually and emotionally, when you're poor, when you don't have anything left, in sickness, are you going to still love him and still cherish him? Are you still going to uphold your vows to him? Are you still going to put him as a priority and put him first? And then also with words of affirmation, just how I speak to him. A lot of the times, some of the things that we go through probably are brought on from ourselves just by the words that we're speaking. Because God is giving you the authority, you literally have the power in your words. You have the power to change your circumstances. It's all about it. It's a mindset. It's changing how you speak. And so with words of affirmation, it's like, how do I speak about God? How do I speak about myself? How do I speak in regards to my purpose and where he's drawing and pushing me towards and, leading me to? Just different things, and just watching the words that I say and making sure they're affirming rather than making it more of a burden on me. Acts of service, giving back, generously giving. Basically, you're not just taking care of yourself, you're not being selfish, but you're actually taking care of and making sure that you're helping other people and just serving his community in general. The third one, receiving gifts, really got me because I realized that I wasn't doing this. Tithing. It's not about the money. It actually has nothing to do with the money. Tithing is nothing but you having faith enough to put God first. It's you putting him first in every aspect, and that's including your money. That's including everything that you value. Whatever you're putting your time towards, that's what you're valuing more. And so, receiving gifts, he wants what you have, in a sense, not the actual thing, but he wants you. You know what I mean? He wants to see on what level you put him in regards to your life. The fourth reason, I'm really growing and it's teaching me a lot about myself, and I'm becoming more comfortable because I'm creating a habit. I wasn't always a prayerful person, but I know that I'm learning that quality time. I have learned, and I'm continuing to learn. I'll be honest, everybody doesn't get it right the first time. Continuing to pray and spend time with God has been huge for me. It's been huge for me. And lastly, physical touch, being able to give back to the community, being able to appreciate, for me, the people who are physically here that God put in your life to be able to touch you and for you to be able to be a blessing to other people. It's working specifically with his community, being a part of your church and different things like that, and actually making an impact here, in the world. And so while you guys are sitting at the house, just reevaluate how you love, recalibrate, take a breather, and really focus on your time and spending time with God. So guys, I hope this message has been encouraging to you. I hope it's motivational. I hope it inspires you. I hope it does something. If not, when you think that this message can help somebody else, please share it with somebody. If you want to learn more about what I was talking about in my book, God the Graphic Designer is there. It's on my website. Feel free to go get it. I hope you have a wonderful week, and you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting. Peace.